Good evening and thank you for joining us. A local business has been targeted by hateful vandalism. Yesterday afternoon, the owners of Wild Time arrived to find that a marquee with a poster advertising a drag event had been spray painted with a derogatory term. Joe Fleury is a co-owner of the local pub on Cumberland Street. He says he was at a loss for words when he first saw the hurtful graffiti. The marquee was taken down before the pub opened on Thursday. Fleury says it took a while before the full gravity of the situation really sunk in for him.
Fearing for someone else's safety, and then the full weight of what was happening was going on. It took me hours to really process that this is something that needs to be addressed. I now feel like I have a responsibility to do something.
Disheartened to continue to see the hate that's permeating in our community, especially against a local small business who has an inclusive and safe space for drag performers and the 2S LGBTQIA community.
Fleury says he's reached out to the police and is waiting for a response. A male cyclist has been sent to hospital following a collision with a vehicle yesterday evening. It happened just after 8:15 at the intersection of May Street and Northern Avenue. Police, fire, and EMS all responded, and the intersection was closed for several hours last night and into the early morning. The man was transported to hospital by paramedics. The extent of his injuries are still unknown at this time. It's also unclear if any charges will be laid. Thunder Bay Police, however, say the traffic unit is no longer involved in the investigation. The Matwa Education and Care Center is celebrating its grand opening today. The First Nations High School has been operating through years of construction, but the facility is now fully and officially open. Lee Noonan has the story.
The Matwa Education and Care Center fittingly celebrated the construction of the school in their new gym. It was the last piece of the puzzle, and the facility is now complete.
I was only supposed to be about 2 to 3 years, but because of COVID, it delayed it, quite a bit. So it's a long time coming, and I'm very proud of this day, and I'm proud of everyone that, came together and we were able to accomplish this. It's quite amazing.
Sharon Nate, Executive Director of Matwa Education, says she's particularly proud of the students' tenacity as they patiently waited through years of construction. Students like Dora Ojeg, who started at Matwa in 2019 and will soon be graduating and heading to college for outdoor education.
If I never came here, I wouldn't have figured out what I want to do with my life, and that's what this school can do, because there's a lot of support and a lot of things you can do, a lot of programs.
With more than 12 hours of programming each school day, 24/7 student supports, and many students living on site, creating a supportive environment is a priority for the school.
It's very lonely when you do not have your family here with you and those supports. So that's very important to us here at the Care Center to have those key elements, to offer the students a safe, nurturing home environment.
I was nervous moving away from home, being away from home, but it feels just like home here. They welcomed me with open arms, and it was amazing. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and I fit in perfectly.
The federal government invested a majority of the $23 million cost to build the school. Indigenous Services Minister Patty Haidu says funding projects like this is part of the rent owed by Canada to Indigenous peoples.
When we talk about truth and reconciliation, the truth is that Indigenous peoples were violently traumatized so the land could be taken. It's a hard thing to say out loud. But we must say it out loud.
The Matwa Care and Learning Center has a capacity of 200 students with about 160 registered now. They're all looking forward to the first dances, first basketball games, and first graduations to be taking place here over the next year. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
18 years ago, Elder Lynn Sharman and Sharon Johnson organized the first full moon memory walk in our city in honor of Sharon's sister, Sandra, who was murdered in 1992. The annual walk was held once again today on the eve of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to bring awareness to all murdered and missing Indigenous peoples. Carl Langdon reports.
Those participating in the Full Moon Memory Walk gathered at City Hall this afternoon to speak first about their lost loved ones.
I always just think of her as being 18 years old, because that's when we lost her.
Carmela Moses is honoring her family member, Charity Bittern Moses, who was murdered in Marathon last July.
Charity was 39 years old when she left. She left behind 4 amazing, beautiful children. Last week, she would have became a grandmother for the very first time.
Before starting the emotional trek towards the Niebing-McIntyre floodway, the crowd raised the event's flag in front of City Hall with City Councillor and Acting Mayor Dominic Pasqualino. Participants braved the rain and shared memories, laughs, and solidarity on their way to the site where Sharon's sister, Sandra, was found 31 years ago.
It was fun-loving. She loved people. She loved life. She was our baby sister, and we all loved her and adored her. She had many friends, like especially in the powwow circle. She loved powwows, and people loved her at powwows.
According to a 2019 national inquiry, Indigenous women and girls are murdered or go missing at a rate 12 times more than women and girls from any other demographic, and are 16 times more likely to be killed than Caucasian women. Carl Langdon, TBT News.
It's a milestone for an important local event that brings hope and support to those affected by breast cancer. The 30th annual Luncheon of Hope was held today, marking 3 decades of fundraising for research, education, and treatment. Vasilios Bellows was there.
A monumental anniversary for a local event dedicated to helping breast cancer patients, survivors, and their families.
Cancer does happen to younger people. To be diligent with your health.
Today marked the 30th annual Luncheon of Hope, celebrating 3 decades of support for those affected by breast cancer. Since its inception, the event has raised over $500,000 for research, education, diagnoses, and treatment through the Northern Cancer Fund. Hundreds attended the gathering, which was highlighted by an incredible keynote speaker.
We learned really quickly that actually there's quite a few women internationally who have gone through cancer and pregnancy.
Jessica Brown is a breast cancer patient that wanted to get the message across that the disease can affect anyone regardless of age. Brown also spoke of having cancer during her pregnancy, sharing the powerful story with those in attendance.
Eventually felt just really hopeful, felt taken care of, and my son is here and he's thriving and he's a miracle, and that's a really great reminder every day of what science can do for us.
The women who brought it together really challenged those barriers.
Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Foundation CEO Glenn Craig says the event sparks discussion about breast cancer, something that didn't happen nearly enough 30 years ago.
It really opened up those conversations about women taking charge of their health and their breast health, and this is a groundbreaking event, and we need to celebrate that.
Organizers are hoping to raise anywhere between $30,000 and $40,000 this year through the event, but say the most important part is building a community and supporting those affected by breast cancer. Vasilios Bellows, TBT News.
Ontario's minimum wage is set to increase on Sunday. It'll hit $16.55 an hour, which is a $1.05 increase over the current hourly minimum. The Ontario government says this will add 900,000 workers. This will add money for 900,000 workers across the province. The raise will add up to 2,200 more in workers' pockets every year. Liberal leadership candidate Adil Shamji has announced that he's dropping out of the race for leader. Shamji, the current MPP for Don Valley East, is now throwing his support behind Bonnie Crombie. Crombie took to social media platform X to share that she's thrilled to have Shamji join her campaign. The move leaves 4 candidates in the running: Bonnie Crombie, Ted Shue, Nate Erskine-Smith, and Yasir Naqvi. The new Liberal leader will be announced on December 2nd. Magnus Theatre has a new play opening at its outdoor stage this evening. It addresses a difficult subject with some lighthearted humor. Meet My Sister follows two siblings who have to work together when their mother refuses to move into a long-term care home.
I'd rather be working for a drug dealer than get eaten by a sea serpent.
The story highlights many aspects of a sibling relationship, the laughter, fighting, and reminiscing about childhood memories. The sisters couldn't be more different, but they need to work together to manage the situation with their mom. Artistic director Tom Curry says the play also touches on what it's like to go back home.
The thing is, when you go back to your hometown, you always revert to high school, right? And that's kind of what these two ladies have done. And their old high school crush does show up halfway through. So you get a little bit of that as well.
Physical comedy in this, as well as, some good one-liners and just that great sibling banter that if you've ever grown up in a family, you totally understand.
Meet My Sister runs Tuesdays through Sundays until October 21st. Tickets are available on the Magnus Theatre website. The Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Foundation has made another millionaire thanks to its Thunder Bay 50-50 draw. Ignace resident Norman Barrett got the fateful call from CEO Glenn Craig this morning.
I have some news for you.
What?
You are a millionaire.
Holy moly. Oh, are you joking?
I'm not joking, Norman. I've been waiting to do this call all morning. We were so excited with the September draw, and you are now a millionaire.
Oh my God, this is gonna be, it's gonna shock my wife. Holy jeez, this has gotta set in. I don't even know what to think right now.
You know that song, If I Had $1 Million? Have you ever thought, what would you do if you had $1 million?
I'd be debt free right now.
Well, Norman, you're debt free.
Yeah, Barrett takes home $1,136,985 in total. In addition to paying off his debts, he says the money will allow he and his wife to pay for some ongoing major home renovations. Tickets are on sale now for next month's draw. That winning ticket will be announced on Friday, October 27th. And Mitch, I think you and